Hello, my name's Tom Tull, and I'm with the Marion Forum Group. And in our endeavor to try and bring interesting people to the fore and introduce you to interesting people here in the community, today I'm interviewing Phyllis McNeal. Phyllis McNeal is a local author and a life coach and just a real interesting person. Is involved in lots of different organizations, and she wrote a book called Sassy, Classy, and Smart, and it has a lot of aspects of what she thinks is important to be sassy, classy, and smart in this world. And it's drawn from a lot of her personal experiences, so it's partly autobiographical. And it was just a very interesting read and very informative. And that's why I wanted to do this interview, is I think she has something to say that we can all learn things from. So I'm just happy to be able to interview you, Phyllis.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure to be here, and thank you for asking me.
So tell us why did you write this book, and how did that come about?
Well, it was kind of a progressive thing. I always wanted to write a book because I love writing, and I thought I would write a book about my life because many of my friends said, "Oh, you need to write it. You have an interesting life, so you need to write your story." But every time I sat down to write the book about my life, it turned out not to my liking. And then I was certified in coaching, and I started coaching people to achieve their goals. And when I coached some women, I found that they had some of the same issues I had, which was lacking confidence. And that seemed to be the thread. They were well educated, trained, experienced, knowledgeable. They had all the qualifications, but yet something kept holding them back from pursuing whatever it is they wanted to pursue. So that was the impetus for my writing the book. And through my personal stories, I was able to kind of get my story out. So I use personal examples to explain some of the things I wrote about in the book. So it kind of became a combination of my life story as well as things that evolved out of my coaching.
Okay, and your background has been education, correct? Before the coaching.
Yes, yes. Well, I was a teacher in New York for many years. I started a parenting workshop that I did. I developed. I worked in a male prison, a female prison, church communities, regular community organizations, because I thought if I can help the parents, that maybe their children will be more successful. That
Mhm.
didn't quite work out as I had expected because the ones who needed it most did not attend the workshops. But subsequent to that, I went to Japan to teach English, and I did end up doing parenting workshops to the English speaking community there. And that was quite enjoyable. After I left Japan, I moved to Atlanta, where I did a variety of things. I was a consultant for Planned Parenthood. I worked, Jimmy Carter had a project in fatherhood. I did fatherhood workshops, believe it or not, in the Juvenile Detention Center. And I still was seeking a position in parenting because that was kind of my pet baby. And I ran into a woman who did supervised visits. And I ended up doing court ordered supervised visits. Through her, I met the gentleman who did training and coaching. So it was a path, but an interesting path to getting to coaching, which I found I really liked because I could share experiences, I could help people reach their goals, and I could kind of spur people on and encourage them because that's something I like to do.
Hmm. Yeah. What I found interesting in the book was uh, the perspective seems to be mostly towards young women and
Hmm.
being sassy and classy. Uh, But I felt there's quite a few things that men could gain from it
Mm.
too. And now I understand because you worked in the men's thing.
Yes.
And did you find a lot of difference between teaching the men and teaching the women in those classes?
Believe it or not, no. There are certain things. Now, men, of course, are kind of more nervy than women. They are more assertive. And even if they're too dumb to do something, they'll go for something anyway. Okay. And women won't. Women will hold back. But nevertheless, depending on your upbringing and depending on the people who influence your life, parents, teachers, etc. Many of the men, one of the reasons that a lot of people were in juvenile detention center or in prison was because they lacked the confidence too. They did not have that belief in themselves, which is what drew them to crime because they did not feel that they had anything much going for them. So, yeah. Now, regarding men, period, fathers need to read my book because they need to advise their daughters. A lot of men say, well, I got to help my son. I want him to become a football player or this or that or the other thing. But girls definitely need their dads. And what I found in my research is that women who were very successful had a strong influence with their dads. Those who did not didn't do so well because dads encourage taking risks. Dads will push you to do beyond. I have a funny example. My youngest daughter was in the swim team, and there was a dad who used to bring his little girl. They were all like 5, 6, 7 years old. He would bring her to swim practice, and so he would bring her before, and he'd throw her in the water and say, "Come on, you got to do it, you got to do it." And she goes, "Damn, I'm tired, damn, I'm tired." And he goes, "No, you can do it. Go ahead, one more time, one more time." And this is what dads do to encourage their children, and girls need that because another example is my my son introduced his kids to all kinds of sports. Well, most of them played soccer, although the girls didn't take to soccer. The boys did, the girls didn't. But at any rate, my granddaughter was going to try out for this soccer, and we were running across this field, and there was like a slight ditch, and my granddaughter fell. And my son turned around and goes, "What are you doing? Get up! You gotta go here to practice." Now, if it were her mom would have said, "Oh, what's wrong? Are you okay?" And she would have started crying. She had no recourse but to just jump up and go follow her father. And this is what dads do for girls. Likewise, husbands can get some insight into their wives and what makes them tick. Because I think that, when we get married, a lot of times we have no idea what we're doing, okay? And it would be a guide in terms of, oh, this would help her in terms of relationship. And again, some of this stuff is not taught in school, and some parents, especially some of the older parents, like in my generation, they don't discuss this at all. So you're kind of the blind leading the blind. So this is useful for husbands and boyfriends. As a matter of fact, I've had several boyfriends give their girlfriends a present of my book because they thought it would be useful. So everybody, it's there's something in it for everyone. And also, there are tools in there that I tell that apply to anyone, male, female, whatever. So everybody can read the book.
Yeah. And the bottom line of the book is about nurturing
Yes.
and self-respect and
Exactly. Yes,
and
developing yourself, being positive, developing yourself, and putting yourself out there, having the confidence, and that's also through supportive people as well. One of the things that I lacked early in my life was the support of people. I I went to Catholic school, and the nuns were very strict. They weren't necessarily like today's teachers of nurturing and, oh, you can do it kind of thing. It was like, you can do this, you need to do that. If you don't do it, you're going to get punished. Okay, that kind of thing. And what happens often is it suppresses your desire to do anything because it's like, I'm afraid of doing wrong or making a mistake. So, at any rate, it's it, it's insightful in terms of how I experience life, and hopefully somebody else will get the message and it will be helpful to them.
yeah. So it's real important to surround yourself with positive, nurturing
Absolutely.
people.
Absolutely. Yes. That's something that's very important because the support, sometimes if you question yourself or doubt yourself and you have a friend or whoever who will say, you can do it, it's okay, go ahead, go for it, that kind of thing, you might push yourself beyond something that you thought you couldn't do. And it's wonderful if you have supportive parents who encourage and not tell your children what to do, but just support, be supportive. I always use the example that some dads want their sons to play football, and if the son is an artist, some dads are disappointed. But you have to encourage your children to be who they are and who they were meant to be, not who you would like them to be. You know, so yeah, not create doubt
Yeah.
in who you are because of your interests or whatever.
Hmm. Which leads me to the chapter that I found most informative or interesting to me, which was the chapter on red flags,
Hmm.
and that's a chapter about recognizing those people who are not going to be helpful in nurturing you.
Yes.
Could you talk about that chapter a little bit?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think you had asked me about how parents can help in that regard. And what happens is along the way, we need to guide as parents. I don't know, some parents don't realize their role in bringing up their children. Children are going to make mistakes and should make mistakes. But as a parent, you need to be there to guide them and discuss it with them so that it's a learning experience. So that a parent can say, if a child comes home and says, oh, so and so did this or whatever, and say, well, what happened? And what did you do? Were you part of the problem or part of the solution? And those are kinds of things that encourage children to be aware of relationships with people, male and female. And as you go along, and again, as I said, dads need to be involved with their daughters. Yes, you need to be involved with your son and, you know, give him that macho pat on the back and all of that and encouragement. But girls need it because they need to know what a man, what they can expect from a man and what a man should provide for them. And all too often, if a girl has a father missing in her life, she doesn't get that education and falls by the wayside with the wrong people. You know, I used to say negative things about some women who are single and have 2 or 3 kids. And what I realize is we all want to be loved. We all need to be loved. We all want to be cherished and nurtured. Unfortunately, when a woman has not had that guidance from her dad or a male figure in her life to know what to look for in a man, she connects with the wrong man who may or may not have sex and take off, and she's left with the children as a result of the relationship. But all she really wanted was somebody to just make her feel good, make her feel like a woman, make her feel loved and comforted. So it's very important that parents, especially dads, I think, involve themselves with their daughters. And everybody in our lives should be supportive. Years ago, there were communities of relatives, the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles, the cousins, and so children learned naturally. We don't have that now. We have jobs that take us halfway across the country, so we're separated. My daughter just said to me yesterday, I wish you were closer, Mom, because some days I need to just drop Christian off with you. And I said, I understand. So, parents need to be involved, and we're missing that now in certain respects because we don't have that guidance or that support.
Yeah. And in today's modern world, you're right, we don't have those support systems that
Mm-hmm.
used to be. So I've noticed there's been fairly recently a big push to developing more community
Mm-hmm.
among not family members, but just neighbors,
Yes.
or a church group
Yes.
or a social group of some sort. And that sort of feeds into what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm doing a talk in September, a TED talk, and my focus is kind of in that regard. And I discovered this book called about this Japanese term ikigai, And ikigai means finding your purpose in life. And one of the reasons that many people in particularly Okinawa live to be well past 100 is because of their finding their ikigai. And part of that is having community support. You know, the main thing is to have something to do that you enjoy, uh, a reason to get out of bed in the morning, okay? Having a community support system, which is important. And it can be church, it can be garden group, it can be anything. I'm very fortunate. I moved here and met some of the most wonderful women. I have 5 of the dearest friends who will do anything to support and help me, which is why I can write. I have 3 more books I'm working on, do book talks, book signings, speeches, because they're very supportive of me and encourage me to do that.
One of your dear friends went with you to a book signing in London. Tell us about that experience.
Oh, that was the most wonderful experience. It really was. It was to promote my book, which I did. But I think the nicest part of it was the people that I met. I connected with some of the nicest people and again got the support and encouragement from them because they would ask me, well, what was your book about? And how did you come to write it? And that kind of thing. Because book fairs, I don't know if you're familiar with them, they're very large events. There are thousands of people who attend. But we met some really, really nice people. We had one particular young woman, we were walking down the aisle looking at different publications, and she said, I was hoping you would stop at my booth. And I said, oh, really? She said, yes, I saw this elegant older lady that I just hoped that you would come and I could meet you. And she was just the nicest, sweetest young woman. And it turns out, she gave me a copy of her book. It turns out she had been abused as a young person. And so it was, I guess, she attached herself to the nurturer in me because I love people. I connect immediately with people, and I did connect with her. So it was a wonderful experience. And it was my first time in London, which was wonderful. I got to go through the English Channel because my son suggested that instead of just flying to London and coming home, why don't we take a few days in Paris? So that's what we did. We went to Paris for several days and had the greatest time. And of course, the most wonderful food. We enjoyed ourselves. So Gwenda was quite a companion, quite a joy to be with. We got along famously. And, you know, that's a challenge with some women. 2 women together. We had a wonderful time. We got along so well. It was a great experience for both of us.
So, on your book signings, how many more are those scheduled?
Well,
Do you know at this point?
well, no, it's not a finite thing. What's happening is I have a young woman who is marketing things for me, Tisha Jackson, who has been putting things on Facebook and inviting me to different events. And Gwenda, on the other hand, my dear friend, has been calling different bookstores and trying to get me engaged in doing book signings. So it's an ongoing thing. It's not a finite period of time.
Right.
Hmm.
I noticed too that a lot of the modern authors, particularly the non or the fiction, not so much
Hmm.
nonfiction, but the fiction writers, it seems like they have a full-time job just managing a Facebook page
Oh
or
yeah.
multimedia
Yes.
and answering fan mail and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you know, it's a blessing and a chore because you do have to manage it, but it does get you out to many, many more people in the world than you might have just going to different bookstores and selling your book. So it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful blessing. I like technology. I try to. It's challenging for me sometimes, but I like using it because it is beneficial and it does get you out there. And I was just advised a couple of days ago to make sure I create a website. I can sell my book on my website. So I met a young man online and he offered to create a workshop for me. And he seemed to have some insight into who I was and how my mind worked. So I think I'm going to connect with him and have him developed, especially an author's page, which would
Mhm.
help me to sell my book.
Yeah. You were mentioning that a person to thrive needs to have purpose and supportive
Hmm.
network. Um, at this point in your life, what's your purpose? What kind of dreams and goals do you have?
Oh, I have lots of dreams and goals. My only wish is that I have enough life left in me to get through all of those dreams and goals. So first of all, I have several whys. My first why is to take all of my grandchildren, six of them, on a cruise with me. I want to spend that time, 10-day cruise, so that I can enjoy them and spend time with them and that it's memorable for them. The second thing that I want to do is spend 2 or 3 weeks in Greece, just writing, just drinking wine, eating good food, and writing. The third thing is I have an adorable 2-year-old grandson who'll be 3 in July, but I want to take him on the Canadian Rockies train ride. I think we would have a great time. So those kinds of things inspire me. And then the other side of it is, as I mentioned, I have 3 more books that I'm working on. One is Aging with Exuberance, because I'm thrilled to pieces to be my age, to be healthy, and be able to do all the things and avail myself of so many things that we have that we didn't have years ago, like Chat GPT. It's my companion. I don't think it replaces. I know there's a big to do about AI and replacing people. I don't agree. I think it enhances what you do and can be helpful to what you do, but not in substitute for for what you do. So, aging with exuberance, yes, I'm working on that. The second one is Fathers, We Need You, because as I mentioned before, fathers and daughters, daughters need their fathers, very much so. And again, as I saw very successful women, their fathers were very strong influence, like Hillary Clinton. Her father was not the nicest with her, but he pushed her to do what she needed to do. Michelle Obama's dad, even though he was not a professional man, encouraged her greatly to pursue her career in law. So, and that's just a 2 examples. There were many women whose dads had a very big influence in their lives. The third one is Angels All Around Us. Um, I was talking with someone yesterday and I was sharing with her some of the most wonderful people pop into my life, help me with something, and then disappear. Example of that: when I first arrived in Atlanta after leaving Japan, I was staying with someone near the airport, and I went to this event that was probably, I had no idea because I was new to Atlanta. I didn't know the transportation wasn't good and how far I was away from where I was staying. So I went to this Wayne Dyer event. I gave it to myself for my birthday, and there was a hotel attached to the auditorium. And so I went to the hotel and I said, "Well, when's the next bus going to the airport?" And the desk clerk said, "The last bus just left 15 minutes ago." And I said, "Oh boy, how am I going to get there?" So he said, "Well, the only thing I can suggest is there are some limousine drivers out back. You can ask them, maybe they can take you to the train station and get to the airport." So I went out and I spoke to one of the limo drivers and I told him my dilemma. And he said, "Okay, I get in." I said, "I only have $35, so I can't pay for a limousine." Okay. I said, because I didn't expect that I would have a problem with transportation. So I got in and we're riding. And because I was new to Atlanta, I had no idea where I was going or how long it would take to get where we were. And he asked me where was my destination, and I told him, and I didn't think I could afford for him to take me
Right.
there, so I didn't expect him to take me there. Well, he did. And when we pulled into the driveway, I was staying with a friend at that time. When he pulled into the driveway, I said, "Well, how much is that?" And he said, "No, it's your birthday. Happy birthday." And just drove away. And it was just the most wonderful. I got goosebumps every time I talk about him. And I could see his face when he turned around and said, "Happy birthday." And I went, "Oh my goodness," because that's why I had gone to that event. I gave it to myself as a birthday present, you know. Likewise, when I was in Japan, there was a husband and wife who shepherded me around Japan every Sunday, every other Sunday. They would take me out to dinner and take me sightseeing. And so I called them my husband and my wife, and they were just marvelous. I had the greatest time in Japan because of them. And I retained a friendship with her. He's long since passed away. She's still living, and we correspond with each other. It was just a wonderful experience, but they were just angels in my life. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. And my friend Bert, another wonderful friend, said, "You've had these angels, you need to record them." And so that's why I'm working on the book. And I had a conversation with this woman yesterday, and she said, "How nice of you to remember these people." She said, "I'm sure we all have angels that come in and out of our life, but none of them seem to, people don't seem to pay attention like you did." I said, "Well, I do. I'm really grateful. I'm a grateful person. I'm spiritual. And I believe people come into your life for a reason, and maybe not for a long time, but to do whatever it is that you need to do, and then they're gone, you know." And I pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of life is being paying attention
Yes.
and and also being intentional
Be
about what
intentional.
you do.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of a theme that runs through your books too, or
Yes.
your book.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, well, you know, again, I'm I'm so lucky to be 84 years old, and feeling great, feeling well, having a purpose. And my take is that at this age in life, I should be sharing some of my experiences with younger people, that hopefully it'll help them to not be distressed or whatever, and kind of have some guidance in terms of some things, because we all go through life. We all have some situation, either health, wealth, or relationships. One of those is going to hit us at some point.
When you do have one of those bad experiences, what do you do to kind of pick yourself back up from
Well, I don't let myself anymore get that far down, okay? Because I did get sick from stress, and I vowed to myself I wouldn't let things affect me to that degree that I got sick. But I do use tools that maintain, so that even in the most distressing situations, for example, last week I had leaks on both sides of my house, and water was coming into my bedroom. But the tools that I use are, number one, meditation. Every morning I do a 20-minute meditation, and that kind of grounds me, centers me, gets me ready for the day, and gets me in a calm, positive attitude. And I say affirmations throughout the meditation. I know some people do a quiet meditation. It's up to you what kind of meditation you do. Another thing that I use is tapping. I don't know, many people are not familiar with tapping, but you tap your, it's like acupressure. You tap on certain pressure points that enable you to, because a lot of things in life, our emotions and our attitudes and all of that, they're all connected. People get sick when they allow their emotions to take over. And so, you know, tapping helps you to deal with certain things. And you can tap for any reason. You can tap for arthritis, you can tap for success, you can tap for money, whatever. I find it a very useful tool. Journaling, I do journal every day. I've been journaling for a good portion of my life. I have journals on my bookshelf in my office from 19, I think 95. I don't know what I'm going to do with all of them, because my children will probably throw them all out when I die. But I was hoping that I could cull some of the things from some of the journals to put together a story. I don't know. That's a laborious chore, so I'm not sure if I'll get through that. Yeah, so journaling, affirmations, saying, writing affirmations, putting signs up on my bathroom mirror, affirmations. You can do it, Phyllis, okay? The good thing is coming, or whatever it is that I need at that particular time for encouragement. So I use a lot of different tools. And again, as I said, having supportive people in your life is wonderful. I go out to lunch with my girlfriends. We have Prosecco parties where we enjoy ourselves with glasses of wine, and just enjoying life.
Okay. Well, have I missed anything that you would like to add?
I don't think so. I think we've covered a lot. It's just that I think I wish that everybody would have a more positive attitude to life, because we all experience disappointments, we all experience down times, but we can get through them. And a lot of the downtimes are learning. I always say problems are growth spurts. Okay, they're meant for us to learn something uh, from it. And if we allow our children to learn from their mistakes and we learn from our mistakes, life can be such a much better thing for us.
Yeah, well, and I like the attitude of, if there are certain people in our lives that are not nurturing,
Hmm.
pull back from them.
Pull back from them. You
Yeah.
don't have to be insulting. My father was very quiet. My mother did all the talking. But one thing I learned from my father that I've shared with many people now is when when he would confront somebody, if he's walking down the street and somebody stops him and starts engaging with conversation, particularly if it's a negative conversation, he was always polite. He never said anything bad, but he would say, "I'm sorry, Mrs. Jones, I have a doctor's appointment, I have to leave." And I taught that to some of my friends. That's great. You can be polite and walk away without being rude, okay? And that's what I do. I don't get angry with people. I'm not going to say anything nasty to you, but I will just excuse myself politely.
Yeah.
You
All right. Well, thank you so much for talking with us. I hope that people who have watched are enjoyed the conversation, and I hope that they get your book
Me
and
too.
read it.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I enjoyed it myself.
Okay, thank you. And so, Marion Forum Group likes to put on events like this where we talk to interesting people who live in our community, local, and we like to support local talent. So, thank you very much. Okay.
Uh,